When humanity first entered the Galactic War Council, the reaction was not fear or curiosity, but laughter. Not the nervous kind, but the confident laughter of civilizations that had never truly lost a war. The council chamber was filled with species forged by conquest, beings protected by natural armor, wielding weapons that bent physics itself. Gravity cannon, plasma lances antimatter police symbols of pauper. Then the humans arrived carrying steel blades, kinetic rifles, and ships that looked outdated even by fringe world standards. The translators barely finished their work before the mockery began. One delegate asked if the human weapons were ceremonial relics. Another openly questioned whether humanity had misunderstood the nature of modern war. Someone finally said what everyone was thinking. Humans were bringing knives to a plasma war. Humanity did not argue. Humanity did not explain. Because humans had learned, long before they ever reached the stars, that explanations are wasted on those who already believe you are weak. The war began shortly after. A coalition of advanced species launched a calculated expansion across nearby systems, guided entirely by predictive artificial intelligence. Every engagement was simulated millions of times before the first shot was fired. Victory was not a hope, but a mathematical certainty. Human territory was classified as a low-priority obstacle, expected to collapse quickly under superior firepower. At first, it appeared the models were correct. Human fleets were smaller, slower, and visibly less advanced. Their weapons relied on physical ammunition instead of elegant energy systems. Their formations looked disorganized, almost primitive compared to the perfect symmetry of alien battle lines. Observers recorded the conflict as inefficient resistance and prepared reports on how quickly humanity would be erased. Then, without warning, alien systems across the battlefield failed simultaneously. Shields dropped. Targeting arrays went blind. Communication networks collapsed into static. Artificial intelligences froze mid-process, unable to adapt to conditions they had never been programmed to face. An overwhelming electromagnetic surge swept through the battlefield, crude by alien standards, but devastating in effect. Human ships continued operating, their weapons still fired, their pilots still navigated. Because human technology had been designed with one uncomfortable assumption in mind, that systems fail. And when they do, people must continue fighting anyway. What followed shattered every alien doctrine of war. Humans did not retreat when their ships were damaged. They boarded enemy vessels directly. Not with drones or autonomous units, but with soldiers. Flesh and blood humans moving through smoke, fire, and vacuum with terrifying determination. Alien troops, trained to fight from a distance and minimize pain, were unprepared for an enemy that advanced despite injury. Humans fought in close quarters without hesitation, adapting instantly to zero gravity, darkness, and structural collapse. Pain did not stop them. Fear did not slow them. Every corridor became a battlefield where superior technology meant nothing against an opponent that refused to break. Captured alien survivors struggled to explain what they had faced. They spoke of humans continuing to fight with broken bones, of manual targeting when sensors failed, of weapons that still functioned when every advanced system was dead. The coalition tried to adjust tactics, but their reliance on artificial intelligence had become a weakness. Human warfare was chaotic, unpredictable, and brutally personal. Humans did not fight to optimize outcomes. They fought to end threats. As the conflict dragged on, alien fleets suffered losses that simulations had never predicted. Entire command structures collapsed under pressure they were never designed to endure. Near the end of the war, a captured alien commander was questioned by human forces. Confused and defeated, it asked why humanity had not used more advanced weapons at the beginning. The human interrogator answered without anger or pride, explaining that those weapons were the best humanity had. Not because they were the most advanced, but because they were the most reliable. Humans had evolved on a world where nature itself was hostile, where survival required endurance, adaptability, and the willingness to keep going when conditions were unbearable. Technology was a tool, not a crutch. When tools failed, humans did not. The final engagement ended without spectacle. One by one, alien fleets powered down and transmitted surrender signals across open channels. Negotiations were requested, ceasefires proposed, and terms offered. Humanity accepted, not with celebration, but with exhaustion. When the Galactic War Council reconvened, the atmosphere had changed completely. No one laughed as humans entered the chamber again. Delegates observed the scars, the injuries, the visible cost of a species that had paid for survival in blood. When asked how such an apparently inefficient civilization had prevailed, the human representative offered no threats and no grand declarations. She simply explained that humanity did not fight wars to dominate others, but to ensure that the same war would never have to be fought again. Years later, the galactic archives were updated. Humanity was no longer categorized by technology or military strength alone. A new entry was added under threat psychology. It stated that humanity avoided conflict when possible, negotiated when necessary, but once pushed beyond a certain point, would pursue absolute resolution. Not victory, resolution. An alien historian added a final note, warning future civilizations never to underestimate a species that had learned violence before comfort, survival before safety, and endurance before efficiency. Humans had not brought knives to a plasma war. They had brought memory, preparation, and the will to finish what they started. And across the galaxy, whenever a new species asked why humans were treated with such caution, the answer was always the same. Because once, the galaxy laughed, and humanity taught it never to do so again.